So, hello, potentially for the first time ever. If you're one of the 200 or so people who have passed through this channel at some time before and not subscribed, welcome back. This is a bit of a departure from what I normally do. So, I normally record Phasmophobia videos here. I'm in a little bit of a different setup right now. See, over this last weekend, I was going on the train to see my girlfriend over the weekend. I took my computer with me. Sometimes me and my girlfriend are on slightly different sleep schedules, so I figured I'm behind on editing right now. I'd been recording for a couple weeks. I think I only got one short out, maybe. So I figured I'd do some editing at nighttime. Unfortunately, some items went missing from my bag. I don't know if they just went missing, if it was theft. I don't expect to ever find them again. Unfortunately, among the items that went missing were my two solid state drives, which included my game installs and all of the media for this channel. I started this channel at the start of this month, at the start of this year. I've already got lost media, and that's insane to me. So while I work on replacing some of my gaming setup, I've had a lot of creative energy lately. I myself have been going through a bit of a time. I haven't put a whole lot of myself into this channel so far. I was starting to a little bit in what's now lost media. But for the last few months, I was living with an ex of mine. It's a tale as old as time. You move in together, you break up, you're still in a lease together. There were some problematic things in our relationship, and I do have support at the moment, but it was definitely extremely harmful at the time. The last few weeks in particular had escalated to a point which I would describe as domestic violence. And that whole episode actually came to a head the night that I recorded my second Phasmophobia short. I partly started this channel because I was going through a really rough and isolating time. I think in one of my now lost videos, I said that I was screaming into the void or something. But that person is out of my life now. I'm moving forward as a person and as a creator. I will be continuing with this channel, and I will be continuing with gaming content as well. I had actually started recording a playthrough of Hollow Knight, which I'll probably record again. On my first recording of that series, I spent a lot of time rambling about Mega Man X4 for some reason. Unfortunately, the next time I dive into Phasmophobia, it's going to be a little bit of a departure from what you've seen so far. I've been recording for a couple weeks, so I have progressed quite a bit beyond what has been reflected in my last uploads. But the good news is the beginning grindy parts are kind of behind us now, and Phasmophobia is really fun when you know what you're doing. So I'm excited to share all of that with you very soon. But right now, there's something going on. And this something is something that doesn't involve me. I don't know any of the people involved. I don't know the people involved in the case that's being covered. I don't know the people involved in the leaked Discord call. However, these are creators that I follow, and that's really interesting to me. Also, I have lived experience with the topic at hand and the way that Mamamax is dramatizing some of the worst possible things. It's just really interesting to me to just watch it all unfold. There's been a lot of coverage on this topic. As you can see, if I scroll through here, a lot of people are talking about this. What do I have to add to it? I've never done reaction content before. I've never even been on camera before on this channel. Like I said, I haven't put a whole lot of myself into this channel so far, but I do have lived experience with the topic at hand. It's something I've actually done a little bit of speaking about IRL. I've done workshops, I've done classes on systems of control. Mama Max is alleging that a vampire werewolf cult exists on the internet and is preying on young people. Now, I'm not saying that I was the victim of a vampire werewolf cult. However, I did survive some time with a high control group with some very strange beliefs. I have talked about this publicly before in my life. I never really expected to talk about this on my channel, though. For me, my experience was over a decade ago. I consider myself pretty well recovered in as much as that's possible under certain circumstances. And really, all I've ever wanted to do here on YouTube is create a space where I just have an excuse to play games and disconnect from discourse. But this particular discourse draws me in. And it draws me in because of how Mama Max is covering it. The way this whole thing is contextualized Mama Max's entire career on YouTube is astounding to me. I've actually been subscribed to Mama Max for a few years. I don't think I've watched a Mama Max video in maybe 3 years, but I did follow him at a certain time. He's gone through some transformations in content. I'm not like a pre-Dark Era Mama Max fan. I'm not saying I was watching his like Sad Boys series or anything like that, but the Kanye Quest video definitely caught my attention at the time. Fairly early on into Mama Max stepping into the kind of horror side of YouTube, he began to focus on these predator hunts. While his intentions always seem noble enough, there's certain topics I just don't feel should be dramatized. The vibe of where his channel went sort of struck me as an edgy, Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator type thing. Being a millennial and remembering the era of To Catch a Predator, I remember that it resulted in a tragedy. For that matter, having been on YouTube for a while, actually, no, actually, let me pull something up. Let's all remember how Chris Hansen handled the Onision scandal.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, there's a person who's been stalking me online, and they just showed up to my house.
Okay, and they're outside now?
They have a bunch of camera people, like they're YouTube stalkers.
As you watch this, it's important to remember that all the camera crews, sound guys, and attorney Mike Morris stayed on the street when I went up to knock on James Jackson, Gregory Jackson, Onision's door to see if he would talk to me. I've been doing this for some 40 years. I didn't get in.
It's important to note that I brought 5 people, but they all stayed on the street. Anyway, yeah, the best of times, people were calling Mamamax the next Chris Hansen. That's Chris Hansen. If you're not aware of what's going on, there's 2 videos you should watch. One is Mudahar's video from SomeOrdinaryGamers. That one's titled Mamamax is a Complete Fraud. If you don't know, Mamamax and Mudahar have actually been friends, or nominally friends, for some years now. I have subscribed to Mudahar for years. I respect Mudahar. Mudahar started a little sensational. He did these deep web deep dives. When I first discovered Mudahar's channel, I sort of saw it as like guilty pleasure trash content, but he actually ended up becoming one of the more respected investigators on YouTube. There have been a number of things like Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo, the recent investigation with the completionist as well. Mudahar has historically blown some big cases open on YouTube. And that's probably why Mamamax sort of targeted Mudahar early on, trying to spread the narrative that he was trying to spread. Mamamax approached Mudahar with some evidence of a vampire werewolf cult that's actually important. I mean, of course, it's not the important detail to highlight when you're talking about exploitation of minors, but Mama Max's content makes such a huge deal of the vampire werewolf part of the whole thing that it's an important part. Another major character in this whole thing is Nicholas de Oreo. He's another person that's in the leaked call that really set off this whole thing, and he made a video called Mama Max Lied About Everything, Leaked Call, and Fake Videos. To my knowledge, Nicholas was never under NDA with Mama Max like Mudahar was. Like I said, there's a lot of videos on this topic. One that I wanted to highlight a little bit is this one by a smaller YouTuber called ImSortaKindaBored. This person did the impossible and actually constructed a timeline out of the case that Mama Max is just rolling a natural one at trying to report. You'll see once we get a little bit more into the details, even constructing a timeline from all of this information is next to impossible. This person did it. They're a smaller YouTuber. I think it looks like it only has 36,000 views. I might actually link this one in the description. It was really helpful to me in researching this video because when I watched Mama Max's video, even when I watched Mudahar and Nicholas's videos, as far as like what Max and Spencer are trying to say happened, all of it was just like I couldn't process anything else because it was so lost on me. So I wanted to react to Max's video, but it looks like as I'm recording this, he may have unlisted it. So we're going to be working from Muda's video.
On March 18th, 2016, Spencer,
Okay, so
a
this is
16-year-old girl from Wiley, Texas, mysteriously disappeared.
this you probably know. Spencer is the person who is living with Mama Max. This person has appeared with Mama Max in streams. This person is also in the call with Mudahar and Nicholas.
Lured by the illusion of joining a supernatural family as a vampire on some random corner of the internet.
Here it comes. Wait.
She actually found herself ensnared in a dangerous cult led by a child predator posing as a werewolf god. The man
The way he hangs on that, like, it's something that just bothers me, in particular when people dramatize cult content in particular. Like, yes, you will likely find strange beliefs and God narratives in a cult setting. The group I was involved with had some of their own, nothing to do with werewolves and vampires or werewolf gods. They definitely had some unsettling takes on angels and some really weird takes on American literature from a certain period. But when I talk about group abuse and its fallout in a workshop setting, I don't focus on and dramatize the dogshit myths and beliefs from that group. I don't platform their beliefs about the apocalypse and immortal leaders, and I don't know if I can quite articulate as somebody who has been through an experience like that. Like when people talk about Heaven's Gate, the loss of life is definitely more of a highlight than the alien parts, right? I understand the fascination with the more sensational aspects of what a cult can be and what it can look like, but are we meant to be more concerned about the child predator who has allegedly preyed on hundreds over an app because he claims to be a werewolf god?
And had recruited hundreds of young children, subjecting them to sending CP, assault, and attempted trafficking. Almost 7 years later, Spencer and the other survivors shared their stories with me.
And so, if you're here, you probably know the basics of the story. Mamamax is the one bringing all of this to the public. It's not going through a media source, it's not going through law enforcement, it's not going through, I don't know, like somebody who can do something, and like it's a very, very serious subject, and this is how it's being presented, and it's being presented to the public for the first time this way by a YouTuber. One who is using, this isn't his voice, this isn't Corpse. He's using a distortion effect.
This video serves as their scream for action against their perpetrator.
Oh, okay. Again, like the sensationalization of it. Like, okay, so in the timeline that we're alleging that happened, this person who was on screen allegedly victimized the seven or so people who were in contact with Mama Max. Everything we know about this case comes from these people. All of the disjointed clips and screenshots and contextless images and whatever we can scrape together a timeline from. And absolutely not to victim blame. Like when I came out of my experience, especially like in the first couple years, I would not like, did I go to the appropriate channels with what? No, I didn't. Like, I can't even begin to describe how lost I was for years after. And something about that leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth because we know from some other coverage on this topic that this story came to Mama Max through his sister. His sister knew, I think it was Spencer, and Mama Max and his sister kind of found these people and brought them forward. If I'm me and I'm 20 and I've like just gone through the past and an influencer that people respect as a hunter of predators came to me and wanted to, I don't know, tell my story or something, like maybe I would have, like, maybe yeah, like, especially like with that particular trauma, like if somebody like came to me as like a leader, that would have been very attractive to me. I was definitely very vulnerable to being preyed upon. I could have been absolutely conned. I got a little lucky with the people who I found in my life at the time. I just want to make sure when I say things like alleged victims, I'm saying that because Mama Max is with no evidence calling this person on screen the worst possible thing you can call somebody, and doing so in a way that like there very well may be something that happened here. But he is setting up just a dynamite defamation case for this person who allegedly victimized dozens or more people. And so just imagine you're one of those survivors who comes to Mama Max because his sister brought you to him, and he says like, give me all your files, give me all your videos, give me everything, I need all this evidence. And so you give all these images of your abuser to him, and he jump scares the internet with him in his video with this guy like hulking out as a werewolf. Why is it being presented this way? But yeah, a bunch of text goes by really fast. And like this is the allegation being made here. Like this is how it's being presented is like it's in a flash, like, you know, you have to go like frame by frame to see it, but like it's saying, you know, this person is going to contact influencers, and it's basically like saying that like this person's going to put counterclaims all over social media. So Max is doing this thing where he's basically poisoning the well for his audience. We'll come back to that. But so Max is poisoning the well for his audience. He's basically, you know, coming in and saying anybody who criticizes what I'm about to say is a sock puppet for this vampire werewolf child predator, which is a pretty powerful straw man. And we have seen this kind of thing from Max before. He did this pick a side YouTube thing a few years back. He had a video taken down, which was one of his. We now have enough evidence to suspect mostly or entirely fictional predator investigation. Not this one, but another one. But basically, it came down to Max was making a call to action to major influencers, people like Philip DeFranco. So Max was pressuring his fans and the fans of the other influencers to basically go to those major figures on YouTube and pressure them to say basically whether they supported Max or supported literal. I can't even say the word or else YouTube will make sure nobody ever sees this video. Don't worry, YouTube. I've already done a very good job of that for you so far. So it's been a running thing on Max's channel. He's had videos taken down. He's privated old videos. He's privated a lot of recent videos, it looks like. But a certain re-upload will become extremely relevant later. Oh, and so it's important to the YouTube side of this narrative. Max reached out to people like Mutahar, like Nicholas. He names some people in his video. He names Corpse, he names Philip DeFranco, he names Joe Rogan, where he's basically sent like an appeal to them to kind of signal boost this video that he's making about the werewolf vampire cult. Somewhere in the course of this, he has Mutahar sign an NDA and shows him some pictures without context and some things that are inside like a Discord server. In fact, let's actually back up in Mutahar's video. Let's let Mutahar tell it.
So let's start off with the story. The story begins on October 3rd, 2023, where Max sends me a message on Discord. Hey Muta, I hope you've been well. I don't want to bother, but I thought you might appreciate a heads up about an upcoming project of mine.
So, just to note, Mama is coming at this as this is my Halloween video I'm working on. Mamamax is a horror channel. Even if you take at face value a reality in which the predator hunts are real. From the editing, the presentation, it's horror YouTube. It's entirely skinned as horror YouTube. This is someone who watched Chris Hansen in the 2000s and then in 2016 said a lot of people like Nexpo. So he's planning his Halloween video around this. And that's not to say, like, I feel like most journalists would probably leverage the vampire werewolves of it all. It is a hook. Like I said before, I understand the fascination with the sensationalized elements. I don't highlight those when I do a workshop or when I tell my story in that kind of setting. But I do understand that those discussion spaces do attract people who may be processing trauma from cult as maybe some percentage, but there is the feeling that a lot of them are there because they're fascinated with cults. And so when I've done any kind of workshop or discussion, I do present it as a story, but it is my autobiographical story. It's built just entirely from my experience, but my personal story is much more intersected with the kind of soupy feelings around identity and belonging, and how those things can be kind of inverted and reshaped and turned against you, then weird statements about angels and weird takes on literature and the more sensational tropes of the setting that all of that took place in. And so when I tell my story, I tell the victim story, not the cult story. So I understand from the perspective of Mamamax as an influencer, he wants to get this as much reach as he can. I mean, like, even at this point into seeing like what Mamamax made of this situation, like it's just easy to see just how deeply the alleged victims were kind of lost in all of this.
Verge of releasing a video for Halloween that is likely to generate significant drama. May I include you in a group chat with other influencers who are also considering covering this topic? If confidentiality is not an issue,
Like
I'd
I
be
was
more than
saying.
happy to send you the video under a non-disclosure agreement. Hey Muda, just wanted to know your current thoughts within the group chat. Now, if you notice the exact dates of these messages, you'll probably pick up that around this time in October, I was already busy with a massive investigation under our belt. In the following
So
weeks from my
Muda was
response to
working
Max, I would
on
release a
the
video on the
Gerard,
completionist
the
and further
completionist
investigate that
investigation. Okay,
situation with a
yeah.
fellow YouTuber known as Carl Jobst. Inviting me to this group, Max inquires and asks, Mudahar, it's been a bit since we've caught up, and I get that your plate is probably overflowing, but I wanted to touch base again. Sorry
So
if our
this
previous
is
chats have been a
coming
bit
much
heavy.
later,
These
and
issues are really close to my heart, and that's
Mudahar's involved
exactly
in
why
this
we need to keep the
investigation.
conversation going. You've got a seriously powerful platform, and within your reach, we could really make some noise for the betterment of children's lives. Just a little bit of your time could go a long way. No pressure to dive into the subject, but if you could spare a couple of hours for an interview, I believe we could spark some real change. Is there a time that works for both of us to sit down and talk for an initial engagement? A few days later, Max says, I'm reaching out again because the voices of child survivors cannot be ignored.
And
I've shared
this
their
is just
stories with
so
you because I
wild to
believed in
me.
your capacity for
Like,
empathy and
just
action. Your silence so
imagine,
far has
like,
been disheartening,
you
but I
know,
still remain
they're
hopeful.
friends, and
Please
like,
understand, we
you
are
know,
determined to
Max
be
has
heard,
asked
and will
Mudahar to,
continue to seek
you know,
influencers who have the power to do something heroic.
signal
Watching the
boost him
attached
with that
video and
with this.
acknowledging their
Like, he's
plight is
trying
all we are
to
asking
chase
right
clout
now.
off of
I hope
Mudahar.
you will not let us down. Now, obviously, at
And
the end of
like
this, you can see
after,
that it becomes very apparent that Max is emotionally
as far as
using
we know,
me
not even
into
being
speaking
left
and
on
promoting a
red,
topic
just
that I
like
haven't actually seen much concrete evidence on,
Mudahar
nor
kind
do
of
I know much
explained, like,
about, because
you
it
know, he
doesn't.
was staying away from Discord, and so like you'd have to get a hold of him like by his number. But just imagine, like, you know, one of your friends, like, you don't reply to two messages, and they're just like, the voices of child victims cannot be silenced. So yeah, and it's wild because, you know, that's the tone that Max took with Mudahar in those private chats. But like, you know, imagine coming at him with like that kind of fury of like, I'm speaking on behalf of victims and your silence is concerning. And but like what he's trying to say is this Halloween video with like somebody with fangs going rawr. What a life some people lead. So to get a little bit more of the story as presented by Max, because we can't get it from Max's channel, let's jump over to next video.
On March 18th, 20. By the way, I think they live together now. No, they don't live together. He got her a place to live. So he's like her landlord or something?
I,
That's
I
kind of
think I
an
misspoke
interesting
on that
detail.
earlier. I think
Spencer,
I might have
a
said they live together,
16-year-old girl
but
from Wiley, Texas, mysteriously disappeared.
Alright. Wiley,
but so
Texas
Max is
mysteriously
housing this
disappeared.
person
Lured by the illusion of joining a supernatural family as a vampire
who, like,
on some
he's
random
really
corner of the internet,
leveraging
she
as
actually found
kind of
herself
his,
ensnared in a dangerous sex
like, you'll
cult
see, like,
led by a child predator
we're
posing
we'll
as a
look at
werewolf
the
god.
Discord call.
The man had
We'll look
recruited
at the Discord
hundreds of
call.
young children,
Um,
subjecting them to
the
sending
way
CP,
the dynamic
kidnapping,
that Max
assault,
has with
and
this
attempted
person
trafficking.
is
Almost 7 years later, Spencer and the other survivors shared their stories with me. This video serves
just,
as their scream for action against their
it's,
perpetrator.
So this is like some fucking serious shit.
I
And
honestly have no
I'm gonna
words.
take this opportunity. It is not uncommon for figures like
Okay.
him to accuse detractors of slander in an attempt to shift the
That
narrative.
was what we saw
This
before.
individual could potentially
You know, like I said, he's saying
Offspring.
everybody.
Guard.
Okay, so this is not quite like a
may
press
resort to legal
package.
threats.
It's definitely not. So this,
Oh, keeps
but
trying to laugh. Cool.
what we're about to see is something that Max
At the end of all of this,
sent
I
to
intend to interview
influencers.
you. I want to
He
understand
names
your
several of
childhood.
them. He does use the individual's full name in this video, and again, there's no
Children are in
evidence,
danger.
and like this isn't. I mean, any evidence
Human
that
trafficking is
exists
evolving.
doesn't publicly exist. Like there's been
Destructive outlets are growing.
there's been no investigation into this,
Threat of
but
extinction
he's using
rises.
definitive statements, like actionable
Children are the key.
factual statements.
The enemy of the children are the enemy of all of us. Why is that child here? You may make a difference. Ew.
And yeah, so just imagine like
Spread the
Philip
message.
Frankenstein saw this.
We are real.
I think he sent this to like
What can take place?
PewDiePie. I mean, probably
What
Mr.
is this?
Beast. Why
Hello,
not Mr.
Smackle. You
Beast?
are a perfectly healthy, sane, middle-class man.
He sent this
Yet you
to
ran a
Joe
straight
Rogan.
razor.
I'm Spencer. I am here to talk today about
So
some of the reactions towards the trailer.
so yeah, so Max got
I
a lot of
appreciate
criticism
everybody's
for
support that
the
he's
trailer for the video he's
and
making
I appreciate
about
all of the
this
constructive
individual.
feedback.
I feel bad for her too. She's getting
And
fucking left out to dry. Not like just in general.
so
she's getting
he
shit on by a bunch of people.
so he puts some of those
First of all, it's
comments
really
on
funny
screen in his
jokes.
video, and then he says
I
like,
mean, I'm
you know,
conflicted.
What I do not appreciate is
now
people being
hear
offended
from
by
a
the
survivor, and so this
What I
is
do not
Spencer.
appreciate
This
is
is the
my
person
story
that
being
he's
ignored.
touting. I
Someone
don't
telling
know
you
how
you
well you
should
can
not
hear the
be working
audio.
with Max.
It's
At least not encouraging him to produce the content he's he
I mean,
claims that you're
like
totally
it's
down with every
the
single thing
audio's
that's
fine in
happening.
Nick's video, but like
That
it
you
sounds like the
encourage the
original
video to look
audio
that
from
way.
Spencer is just like
I'm just telling
really
you.
quiet.
Let's
So
keep going.
Mamamax got a lot of hate for the video, and
This
so
part, I thought this part was
in his
kinda cool.
follow-up, he is basically taking a shot at the YouTube community for focusing
Each
on
one
SS
is a
Sniper
different
Wolf
sniper.
with
Again,
this
this is like a
hashtag
banger
We Are
TikTok.
Real. But the thing is, the Sniper Wolf situation that actually was serious. It wasn't YouTube drama. It was a larger creator
Behind the clicks,
doxing and
views,
showing up
drama,
at the
there's a
house of a
story.
comparatively
Overlooking
smaller creator,
millions of
and
stories
then
in fact,
everybody waiting to
stories
see
that
how
scream
YouTube would
for
react to
immediate
it.
attention
So it
and
actually did
continue to
have
be
really
muffled.
big
Toastify, you don't
implications
think that
for
this
the
video,
platform
of what
and
you've seen so
potentially
far,
other
the current
platforms.
title and thumbnail.
So anyway, if you're confused at this point, that's why I shouted out that video at the start. That's the information that Mamamax put out as far as taking this vampire werewolf cult case public. Is here's a video of a guy roaring, here's one person saying there's 8 people saying this thing, and then basically, why are you talking about Sniper Wolf and not my video? So anyway, this all happens, and let's just go to the Discord call. So at this point, Max starts streaming. He starts holding calls with certain people who he had reached out to before, and it gets to where Mudahar, Nick, Spencer, and Max are all on a call together.
Showing the evidence is, I personally have not been walked through the evidence besides Spencer's. The survivors in the server, not all of them are as active as we would like them to be.
Like I said
Obviously, a lot of
earlier,
them
there's
have
one
trauma, they
person
talk
saying
about
there's
it,
8 people
and that it's
saying a
hard for them
thing,
to actually just sit down and
and
speak with me.
it's
But
all
that's
going
why
through
I've been
one
just
person.
asking the
And like,
general
fair
public
enough,
to
like
please be patient. Like
sometimes a
there's
group needs an
a
advocate,
lot of things we need to
but
wait for. I am
Mamamax
just
is
trying
presenting
to
himself as an
get the word out
investigator in
that
this situation.
this is what the accusations
And
against him
he's
are.
making definitive statements about
And
this
it's
person
also,
who he's
and
given this
also like
person's full
we are
name on
fine saying
YouTube.
this is all alleged. Like we are
Assuming this is a
fine
real person.
if
But you can't just say it's
Wait,
alleged now.
hang on,
oh
hang
no,
on. I was talking over.
yeah, get the word out that this is what the accusations against him are.
Let me just.
And it's also, you can also like we are fine saying this is all alleged. Like we are fine if
But you can't just
if
say it's alleged now. You've been calling
No,
him a
because
pedophile.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's
I'm fine
been
doing it because
making
I
definitive,
trust them.
factual
But
statements.
Okay, but
all I
you
wanted to
said you
do,
didn't review most of
No
the
evidence.
evidence besides Spencer,
He
though.
hasn't.
I
The evidence that
reviewed
is
the
being
evidence. I
shared
just
amongst
haven't
the
had
group
the
he has not
context as to
seen.
what
He's
it is
only spoken to
pertaining
one
to.
person.
So you looked at the evidence, but you don't understand how.
Yeah, in the exact timeline, which has been why just one of many reasons why it's been such a struggle to create the comprehensive timeline as I'm waiting on a lot of different things.
But you see,
He
that's why
hasn't created
people
a
are
timeline.
inflamed with you right now. It's because you
Yeah,
just
like I said, a small YouTuber, like I showed you what Max gave us, and like from like little pieces here and there from like other other videos have like some pictures that have like some screenshots of like some alleged like I don't know if they're some alleged social media posts that this Camden person allegedly made that don't actually reference anything or any of the people involved, and they're kind of just shit posts, it looks like. Which, I mean, fair. I did regrettably produce print media for a certain group at one time, and yeah, I mean, like, cult media is basically just shit posting, but like nothing that exists anywhere on the internet. In any way, like there's nothing that like you could say one that like what they're saying occurred, and also like anything like putting any of them in that situation. There's like just nothing that would hold up if this Camden person were to file a defamation case. Mamamax is not winning that one. I'm not an attorney, but it is thoroughly my understanding that Mamamax is not winning that one, especially when his attorney is ChatGPT. We'll see that later.
told me in this call that you didn't properly review every single victim, and now how is it that you can make calls to action and blatant statements of fact when at the end of the day you have literally not even properly reviewed,
Yeah.
you have not properly contextualized,
Yeah.
and even
I mean,
timelined every single bit of
I guess
evidence
I
that
didn't even
consistently
mention
builds?
that
You're
part really.
clearly
Like
not an
he is
investigator
making the
built for this case, and
accusation,
it's
and
not
there's like the
literally
legal
because
aspect of it,
someone
but
like him is
also
out of
like
his
he
head
is
because he
making a call
only
to
is
action.
one
Like he
person.
is
I have done
telling
plenty of
people to harass this
investigations.
person.
I've just
And so, by the way, there's also the question, i- are they working with
Have you
law
not been
enforcement?
listening this stream?
No, they're not. No report was filed prior to this video being made. They
But
didn't
I'm answering
speak.
you.
They say they spoke to an attorney, but there's
So
some
will
reasons
we
to
reached
doubt
out to
whether
the
they
lawyer.
spoke to an attorney.
He told so he
And so,
recommended
he's
all
saying
the
like he was advised that they should go to the jurisdiction where the crime occurred and report it, which sounds reasonable. It is sadly rare in situations with most cults where there are very many actionable crimes. Just being a high control group is not considered a crime. You could definitely say that it's inherently harmful, but it is something that's legally protected. And so this is, just somebody
that is what
in
we are doing.
Mama Max's live stream berating him
again, this
and
is by far the
by
most
extension
important part.
Spencer,
Is
for mishandling this information because of how this was handled, because like no proper channels were gone through. It's just, make a video, make a very sensationalized video that's designed to grab the algorithm that, you know, that admittedly wouldn't perform well in AdSense because of the subject matter, but definitely it was designed to get attention. To do that, obviously, if a crime has occurred and there are real victims, the person who victimized those people now has the opportunity to destroy evidence, to intimidate witnesses, to relocate out of a jurisdiction. It makes it harder to actually have justice for the victims by doing it this way. And you'll see in a second how he is really hiding behind them too. It's just really unfortunate. Taking it at face value, you do have a really rare case wherein there are actionable crimes that can be pursued. And from the way that this narrative is being shaped, it does seem like this group is structured singularly around this person, which is a bit of a media trope. It's yes and no from what I experience and from what I've encountered in the discussions and research that I've done in my particular field of advocacy. Yes, there certainly is a leader, but it's more of a multi-level marketing scheme. When I think of cults and multi-level marketing schemes together, I think of Illuminati and like I would already be sad thinking of those things, but like also.
So recently, people have been saying that your investigations kind of skew the line between fact and fiction because they're finding things
So
that
this
you've
is one of the damage.
created as context for the video. I think people are pointing to the Discord server that you were an admin of when you were showing it. The lawsuit that you changed the name or whatever. How much of what you do is kayfabe and how much of it is legitimately like live? This is the investigation. Here it is.
So the investigations themselves are real, but obviously the films have fictional elements. There's multiple reasons. Like for example, the admin thing on the Discord server, I had to recreate it.
Yeah,
like, that was a recreation
And
because I didn't have the
recreations
original.
are fine.
The IMVU thing,
If
I
you're
wasn't.
making, say, a true
I don't
crime
know why people are
documentary
saying
or
I
like a Dateline
like it's a
style,
film. Like it's
or like a
I'm
Dateline style
presenting it as if
broadcast,
it were to be real, but I didn't think people would take it as that. Like,
but wait,
that's
you
all
fund
I'm
stumble.
pedophiles. You don't think that
I
people
am
are going to think your
I'm
videos are
presenting it
real?
to be
so that's the thing. So I want everyone when you watch my video to assume everything is
like I'm
fake,
presenting it like it's, but he
except
like
like
stops
when
himself
I
for
show
saying
up
I'm presenting it
face and
like
what
it's
they're
real.
doing.
Again, why are we
I and just
interspersing
to be clear,
fact and
I don't
fiction when it comes
usually
to
like to
incredibly
read into those
serious
things.
stories
People do
like this?
misspeak,
Look, I'm not
like,
here to say if Max is
but it's
definitively
in
faking his
context
stuff or
though.
not.
Have you ever gotten someone arrested?
If I have, then I don't know it.
You went on my
This is kind of
podcast
the
to tell me
moment
that you've
where
got someone arrested and it was because of your video. Just to be clear, would you like to
I've been
re-answer that
told,
question?
I've been emailed stuff like, "Hey, you got this guy
and
arrested."
this for sure
You
When
is
I'm
went
not
like,
on
as
and you said
serious
this
as
guy was arrested. It was
actively
because of
exploiting
me. It was
victims,
because
if
of
that is
my
in fact what
video.
he's doing. I
He
mean,
told me that 2 years ago.
verifiably to some
it's kind of
degree, that is what
egotistical of
he's
me to
doing.
say that it was my video that did it. I don't know that for sure.
But
But
then you said
Um,
recently that he fled to the Philippines. So was Sonny ever arrested? Pablo Sonny? Did that ever even happen?
yes, he did. All we know is that his last location we picked him up from was Mexico. Whether he fled to the Philippines or not, we don't know. We just know he has family there, and that's the most likely destination they would go to, just because
But he was
they have
in
family.
so he was arrested. That was
Pablo Sonny, I have no. I don't think so. I think he got away.
dude. What the
If he was,
fuck?
yeah, if he was arrested, I have no idea.
Why did you tell
so
me he was arrested?
yeah,
You said Pablo Sonny was
this was
arrested and my video
Mamamax's
did it. Why did you
greatest
lie to me on
achievement.
my show?
Do you have a clip of that?
Yes, it's in
Yeah,
something I've been
send it.
currently editing.
Yeah, send it to me.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. I think there's even a video on YouTube. Actually, can you just jump in the screen share? I'll just pull it over because somebody
I've
archived
been
it.
here.
Yeah.
I guess I can hear stuff, but I
Do you
can't see
know
anything.
That's
in
all
the
you need is
Phoenix
a
Wright
visual of a
games,
drawing.
which I would love to play sometime. When I was doing Hollow Knight, I was narrating all the dialogue. It was really fun for me. I like reading for people.
Okay,
I've
here you go.
always liked
This
reading,
is the two
books with
clips,
people and stuff like that.
contrasting clips of Pablo Sonny. Okay, so obviously one of
Um,
them is in
I would love to play Phoenix
December
Wright. In the
29th, and the
Phoenix
other is,
Wright games,
sorry, December
there's like
29th,
the moment
2021,
where
and the
you
other
have
is
the
November
witness like kind of
27th,
on the ropes and like
2023.
they
Okay.
have like a different
Okay.
animation where
What
like
was what is your
anyway,
primary goal? Is that then?
that
Because no,
was Max
what's
and
your
he's like,
other
do you have a clip of
Well,
that?
I guess the question is like that. The next getting at is like, okay, so you want to enact this change. What do you hope is the eventual result of your video?
Okay.
Of all this.
So I know there's people out there saying I'm doing it to self-serve. I
So this
just
is
want my video back
2021.
up. I don't give a
So
shit if my video comes back up.
the Discord
It
call
did what it
was,
needed to
this
do.
was recent. This was
That
all
was in the
happening like
video is
Max
currently in police
released his
custody.
video,
And it
Was
his
that as a
Halloween
result of your
video.
video, or was that
Yes.
prior to the video?
Things
Yes, it was
kind
because
of
Okay.
of the
have
video.
Okay.
The video
happened over the
was
past like
about
month or so.
IMVU
and this one predator. I made it about him and him alone.
I remember you use a game, right? You played the game and you exposed this guy.
Yes.
Do you mind walking me through the chain of events
So,
that
and
led
now
from
he's
your video to him
describing
being
this
imprisoned?
is the
Yeah,
net
so I dropped the
positive
video.
of
The
his
end of the video
videos.
is a call to action. Usually all my videos
You know,
are a
what
call
is he
to
trying
action,
to
like
accomplish here?
find him, and we did.
So in this case, find him meant like you didn't know who he was. You wanted his doc so he could go to jail.
All we had was his face and his voice.
Right.
And out of that, I said find him, and then within 24 hours, we found him. And then I started social engineering all of his friends to give me his information, and they did. And then we pegged him. He fled to Mexico. We found where he was in Mexico.
Wow.
I don't know if the police.
The
He was
timelines
from Canada,
converge.
so I don't know if the police
He
asked
kept
him to come back.
Mexico in his lie. Like
I don't know if the police asked
he
him to
must
come
have
back, or he
remembered
went
like
on his own volition,
that
or I
part from
forced
the
him to come
story
back.
he
I don't know any of
concocted the
those
first
details. I just
time.
know he went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time.
But yeah, in the good timeline, he goes
So
to
you
Mexico, then he's taken back to Canada.
So that was what I
and
was told
arrested.
through
And
Instagram posts when
in
I was
our
in contact with his
timeline,
friends.
we live in the Mamamax
You didn't
universe.
remember that until I showed you the clip? You didn't remember that? Like, this is your
He
biggest crown
got
achievement that
away.
you
He
got a
went
pedophile
to
arrested?
presumably the Philippines.
I didn't remember the details, no. I just remember he fled to Mexico. All the police custody shit, that was only shit I was told. I couldn't verify any of that.
So you just got on stream and told everybody it was me. I did it. Mamamax #1.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I love that he uses that as
you can
a
let people know
defense
I think
because,
that,
like, Nick is
we
right. Like,
literally
he's
had
there,
him,
you know, in the
had him
previous
in a
clip
voice call.
making
Like, it's like the
very
Mega Drive. Like, it's
definitive
literally
and
us saying we're
very
14 years
like,
old.
this is me and
He's
I
saying,
did
yeah, I want to
this
see
statements.
I want to see, like, I want you to ride me and shit like that. To what he thinks is a 14-year-old, and we verified that by telling him, like, I don't know, I'm young. I don't know, I'm only 14. I think that should be sufficient to put him in prison.
By the way, I have
but
something
the law
to say
says
about how
otherwise, I
mischaracterized
suppose,
that
because
after the
as
Discord
far as I
call.
know, he hasn't been imprisoned, and people have been I received an email that someone was going to talk to the deputy about why he hasn't been arrested, and I'm also actually going to start interviewing police local to me as to
He's
get arrested, because I know they
filibustering.
all
He's
want to arrest them.
filibustering a
It's
Discord
just
call.
the law binds them.
So you've never actually gotten a file arrested?
Not to my knowledge.
He doesn't even know if he had any arrest under his belt.
This is my favorite.
ChatGPT, bro.
Okay. So, look at what I just sent you.
Yeah, you sent me a ChatGPT prompt.
So Mudahar, you know, is questioning your evidence
we
is
can
just
argue
half a
legal
person
semantics
saying
all
this
we
thing
want.
We're
happened,
not arguing
and
semantics. We have to
Mama
look at
Max
exact
has been
definition,
saying, you know, he's actually sent emails
this is the
from the
problem
Mama
with
Max
this
legal
situation.
team, by the way.
You're going in
The
with
Mama
evidence
Max
that
legal
can't be
team.
100% corroborated. You're going in with allegations as an evidence. Courts would laugh
Why?
you out.
Are we talking to your lawyer, ChatGPT?
Yeah,
right
is this
now?
your?
Like,
Is
what
this
the
the
fuck
lawyer?
is
Like,
going
dude,
on?
right here, bro. Come on, you can't.
Judge.
You know, if I make a video on this, this is what I have to work with. How do you honestly think I can take your side logically? If tomorrow I was like, oh, where's Max getting his legal definitions? Oh, ChatGPT. By the way, ChatGPT has also been getting fucking dumber over the last few months. I mean, come on.
And what Moody's referring to, there have actually been like lawsuits against ChatGPT for specifically for giving bad legal advice.
Show me that. Show me what. Show me that definition. Show me that definition, not the ChatGPT. Why'd you not bring me that one?
I mean, there is a disclaimer on ChatGPT that
give me that. Give me the one from the legal definition.
It only knows things up to a certain point, like 2022, the internet, and it is not meant
of
to
course,
give
in
any
one
kind of
situation,
advice
Max was
ever.
also in his own controversy with various ex-relationships of his life.
Well, I'm asking why you did not directly contact me, but contact us only in public streams.
Let's see. I contacted you November 27th. Max, I've seen your latest video. I've caught up with this whole situation. I have texted you.
What it felt like seeing him on streams.
You went on with
That was
Tommy and
Max saying to
Lyrics and
Spencer,
are sitting
tell
there
Buddha
talking
what
to
it
them,
felt
but
like
you
seeing him on
literally
stream.
haven't spoken to the other survivors.
Hold on, can you put Max on for a second?
I'm right here.
That was snaky as fuck, dude. Oh, I'm coming after you, Mudahar. Stand back. Spencer, can you tell him what you felt?
Yeah, Nick's calling it out. It's It is
Because
it is sneaky.
Dude, that's
can you listen
disgusting.
to me? Can you listen to me? It was so fucking heartbreaking
Like
hearing
to
Moose
give
sit there and say that, oh, if this is fake, then
I mean like to give the context, Max said, "Why didn't you contact me?" Muda said, "I contacted you on this date. I've texted you." And Max immediately just says, doesn't respond to his blatant lie being called out. He just says, very quietly to Spencer, tell Muda how it felt seeing him on stream. Yeah, just wow.
I'll gladly put money towards Camden's defamation trial.
Yeah, if it
That
is fake.
was
I thought you said it's
up.
fine with saying it's allegedly. Now all of a sudden,
It's
there's
real?
no, there's no like
the thing
other side to the story.
How do you feel? How do you think that it makes myself and the other survivors feel when you're saying that? It is okay to think that, but you're going publicly and saying that to everybody else when you haven't spoken to the others. I'm just trying to understand, why would you do that without talking to us?
I've
Honest,
spoken with
and we're
Max.
going a
Max is
little
your
hard.
representative.
We're
Max is supposed to be the one
appropriately
bringing
going
the story
hard
across to
on the
everyone.
Max
And yes,
Spencer
if
camp,
in the
but
case that everything is actually, why is
it's
it your
true.
job?
Like,
Because you're the one who's spearheading this. You're the one spearheading it. What do you mean? Fine, give it to Spencer's channel. Spencer, you upload this whole thing. What?
You're the fucking person who's running the investigation.
Oh my
This is
God.
your case.
Investigate this as well.
so yeah, this is
And
now
you
Max
haven't.
trying to backpedal away from being the person
You're the
in charge of
fucking
this
one
case.
bringing it. Why are you talking about this
Absolutely.
case?
I am the first one.
Yeah.
I do not want to be the only one. I'm the only one.
Well, then you are the only one. You haven't convinced. Exactly. You haven't made anything
You
compelling.
haven't been listening to them. I've been trying to set up a call like this for months.
Yeah, and I've had a 2-hour-long
Spencer, why
call, and I'm not
Spencer,
moving anywhere close to the situation. In fact, I have more questions.
Why can't you take initiative to talk to other survivors?
Well, I'm talking to you right now more than anybody else. I want to address one comment I made
This
here
isn't a
for
great look
Spencer,
for me,
and another
though.
apology I want to make. I can understand how
This
she could
isn't
be frustrated, and any
apologizing.
of these potential survivors hearing that I would pay for a defamation case.
I can't speak
In
for
reality, this is a
Spencer,
heated moment,
obviously,
as you can
but like
imagine, where it's basically a big
the
fuck
fact
you to
that
Max.
Muda,
You're actually investigating
this
this
is
entire
Muda's cut
situation.
of the
To
call.
me,
Like
I find it
Muda
wholly
did leave
disrespectful
in
that people
a
will
part
put
where he
actual
looked
effort. I
bad
will do my
and
absolute damnedest
took a
to come
moment
up
in his
with
video
all the
to
evidence I have.
apologize
And
to it,
anytime I do an
and
investigation,
I think that
Max is
means
playing
something.
incredibly loose.
So yeah, that's kind of the principal narrative of the Mamamax thing as the catalyst that launched, all of the update videos and the I've never been on Twitter and maybe I should be, but like just you I like I was it was already such a hard sell to me and now it's X also. Um so like I feel like if you're on X, like it's your grandfathered in. Like I cannot imagine being the only one I know that has made a brand new X account. But anyway, the discourse is happening everywhere. Updates have happened. Mama Max is trying to sue Mutahar, but I'm not necessarily here for the drama of it all. I'm not here for the vampire werewolves of it all. Admittedly, that is what does make this a little more on theme for my channel, but I'm here to kind of discuss my take on Mama Mac with this situation and with his brand and even with the character that the internet believed for a while. Like I did say earlier, I have been subscribed to Mamamax for years. I can't name a video of his that I've watched besides the Kanye Quest one. I really liked the Kanye Quest video when it came out. I think he was comparatively smaller perhaps at that time, and yeah, just it was easy enough to hit the subscribe button, but I haven't made it through a Mamamax video in a very long time. Mamamax has actually rubbed me the wrong way for a while. As someone with lived experience with the fallout that a high control group can have on a person's life. And as a survivor of abuse in the past and recently, I don't want Mama Max speaking for me. I never really have. Certainly not with the theatrics or the vocal distortion or just anything about how he packages what he does. And going back, I think this is pretty old news at this point. I think it was maybe 2022. There were like 5 people who accused Mama Max of abuse. I said I haven't made it through a Mama Max video in a long time. I definitely could not sit through Mama Max's. You can't really call it an apology video because he's. It's literally like just an Uno reverse card video. 5 people had accused Mama Max of abuse in prior relationships, some romantic, some not. Mama Max says, no, no need to believe them. They're just 5 people giving testimony. They are, in fact, the abusers. And then he made a very spicy accusation about the person who uploaded the video that kind of showcased those accusations against him.
Hello,
So
everyone.
back
Welcome
when
back to
all
an
of this was
exclusive
happening,
Mama Max
Mama Max
cancellation video.
uploaded this video
So
called
today,
Believe All Abusers.
fucking, I'm a fucking groomer. Everyone's a goddamn groomer at that point. Oh, but wait a second. No, I'm not, because the age of consent in both Texas and Tasmania is still 17. And moreover, she considered herself a
So this
consenting
is
adult.
Mama Max
I find
defending
this all
himself
very hilarious
against abuse
since she was
allegations.
allegedly dating a 17-year-old boy from England named Harry when she was 20.
17 is
while I was
dating
dating
He
Olivia.
says go off, sis.
Olivia will remember that.
More
Maybe
times than
maybe she'll confess to
he
that.
should.
Hey, Olivia, if you confess to that, I won't sue
There's
you
just
for
this
extorting
feeling
me
of
and
overall contempt
defamation.
all the way
So
through
we
it.
met online, obviously.
And
on
to be
Twitter,
fair,
I
he
think it
is
was.
We met on
accusing
July
these
7th of
people of abuse.
2016 on one of my live streams where she was flirting with me in the live chat after I tried negotiating with you and your boyfriend to handle everything
So, and then
give to her.
there's a
We
very
still worked
long
there. I had tons
story
of
about
up his day, how he looked for
this
anymore,
girl that he
and
was
that since I'm going
basically
away to
this
college,
kind
she
of
wouldn't be a problem
nice guy
anymore.
orbiter around way back in the
when I-
day. She
boyfriend
had a
and running away with
boyfriend.
fuck away. Before
He's
my
gonna
feelings
go on to accuse her
you
boyfriend of
have
something
her
pretty horrible in this video, and you know,
It's
it's
proven.
in the course of him saying
And
that all of his
what makes
videos
you
take
a
place in a
reliable
fictional
witness?
universe, which yeah, that was his like apology. Yeah, at the time people kind of turned away from this whole thing because Max accused this person and he accused all of his exes, and for some reason most of the internet just kind of said that's fine. But what that leaves us with is there's no actual challenge to these allegations against Max from 2022. Now, in good faith, I've pointed out some problematic behaviors from Max, pointed out how, like, how he's interacting with these victims and some like guilt tripping he's doing and stuff like that. I'm not insinuating that Mama Max is a rising cult leader. I've seen sensational titles that do allude to that. I'm not insinuating that. And basically masking off and admitting that his videos are fake. Max does claim that he is intentionally using cult-like tactics to kind of satire this group that he's covering. Again, why is it being presented this way? And the way he is just kind of roping in what we can take as a group of victims. He's hiding behind them. He's dehumanizing them through his content. I feel like if I were Spencer, I would look back on this later and feel like I was re-traumatized by this entire endeavor with Max and his video series on the vampire werewolf cult. And given the fact that I can't even search the videos on YouTube now, it seems like Max is stepping away from this. Max isn't the only person on YouTube that's built his brand on predator hunting. It's kind of a rising niche. Even as someone who enjoys the occasional true crime documentary, I just don't understand subject matter like that being filtered through media personalities like Chris Hansen or Mamamax. Hey, so this is editing Maddie jumping in. I didn't really have an ending to this video when I recorded it. In fact, when I finished recording it, I think it was like 3 a.m. It was a work night. I just kind of got tired and stopped at some point. It's taken me a little bit to actually edit this video and get it out. Like I said, I'm not really here for like the YouTube drama of it all per se. I know a lot's happened with like Mamamax saying he wanted to cancel Critical. There are some updates about Mamamax with his lawsuit against Mudahar. It was hilarious. He said in his filing documents, Mudahar is very rich, and so I'm seeking $1 million. Nothing referencing like this many damages or anything like that. It's just he's rich, and so this is what I'm seeking. It's like if Elon Musk parked his car in my driveway and I sued him for $1 million because he's very rich. And don't get me wrong, billionaires and corporations, like, they have just frivolous, just ridiculous lawsuits all the time. And so I'm all for the reverse happening. I don't know that Mudahar is like a millionaire or anything like that. I don't actually know Mudahar's net worth. He probably is well off. He has a few million subscribers. I just like the tone of Mamamax's lawsuit from Mamamax's legal team. It's funny. Like I said, I'm not really here for the YouTube drama of it all. I did want to comment on some of the discourse that I have seen. I referenced a little bit in the video. I've been seeing some, really over the top like titles, and there are some in more of the kind of commentary end of YouTube, sort of running with a narrative that Mamamax is like a growing cult leader. Mamamax is, by his own admission, a fraud, and does seem to be a manipulator, and does seem to have some really worrying dynamics around him. Cults are difficult to define. There are some systems that exist to define them. The bite model is a popular one. I myself have done workshops on it. It's not a universally accepted model. There is no universally accepted model to say this is a cult, this is a cult leader. The thing I did want to kind of jump back in on, I haven't been staying super connected with this in the week plus that I've been editing this video. I've had a lot going on in my life. I've still been dealing with the fallout of the situation that happened in my home. I've still been recovering from that, taking some time to heal. I've also been working like 10-hour days at my day job. It's kind of a crunch season for me. I say inherited, I kind of created a really big project. It's actually been pretty good though. I've been really busy in a lot of really productive ways. Unfortunately, I've only been able to spend maybe like an hour a day on online content between my YouTube and my TikTok, whether that's editing or recording. I've been wanting to put a lot of that time into editing this video because I knew it was going to be, for one, the longest video I've done, and just very different from anything that I've done before. But also, this topic is so much more exhausting than anything I've done before that it's been a process to get this out, to be honest with you. But I have noticed something that has come up in the discourse a little bit. I've heard the question posed by at least one commentary YouTuber, and I said in my video, we're being really hard on the Max Spencer camp. And I think the internet, myself included, we are all kind of lumping in Mamamax and Spencer as one entity together. And I have heard at least one commentary YouTuber ask on the topic of accountability, does it even matter if Spencer is the victim? And my very simple answer to that is yes. Yes, it does. Like I said in the video, when I came out of my own experience, I was completely lost. I could have easily just found something to cling to. If someone like Mamamax had approached me in the first like 1 or 2 years after I escaped my situation, I would have been Spencer. I'm sitting here over a decade later, much more knowledgeable, much more healed, much more grounded and processed in the situation. I am very critical of Mamamax and Spencer in this situation. But a decade ago, I probably would have been Spencer. So yes, it matters that Spencer is a victim. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Mamamax is housing Spencer. Spencer was connected to Mamamax by Mamamax's sister. Now, I know in regards to like the Mudahar lawsuit, in regards to a lot of like the YouTube drama kind of stuff, I know there's been receipts, There's been stuff from Mamamax's Discord. I know that Spencer appears very enthusiastically complicit in all of this. When I was in my most recent abusive relationship, I would have very much appeared that way. In fact, when all of this blew up just recently for me, in order to be believed by some people around me who were mutual connections with me and my partner, I had to produce journal entries I had written as far back as like 6 to 8 months ago that showed just how miserable I was. And yes, I appeared very happy in every picture and public setting that I appeared in because everything from how I presented myself to what I did to my sleeping habits to what hobbies I engaged in to what friends I engaged with, all of that was being controlled for me. And from that very filtered lens, if you happen to be looking at just the filter, I probably looked very happy, very supportive. We don't know Spencer's thoughts. And assuming that all of this is true, that this isn't just an original fabrication of Mamamax's, Spencer is freshly out of a trauma that most people cannot relate. And she's been approached by a popular influencer that is a celebrated hero that hunts predators. Of course she's going to support him. And of course she's going to double down for him. He is all she has now. He has blown this for her. Not only has he created her alleged abuser's defamation case, he is probably creating his defense too. It's not hard to imagine a scenario wherein a defense attorney plays that Discord call, Mamamax's video, all of this YouTube stuff gets played in court. Along with, I mean, there's hours of videos coming out from Mamamax's entire YouTube career. People are diving really deep into everybody that Mamamax has ever falsely accused. Mamamax has said that his films have fictitious elements. He's gone as far as to say that his films take place in a fictional universe. It's not hard to imagine a scenario where Spencer and the other 7 or 8 victims, they go to the police. A case is opened. They present all their evidence. They go to court. And a case is presented that presents them as actors in the Mamamax cinematic universe. Oh, and meanwhile, she is public enemy #1 on the internet along with him. Of course she is going to double down with him. He is all she has, and she is in a very vulnerable situation. So yes, it matters that she's a victim. And it looks like she is being actively re-victimized by all of this. Which brings me to this that I actually wanted to share. This was just from a couple days ago, as of the time that I'm recording this. This is from Mudahar's podcast that he co-hosts with Natsukaku, which is another YouTuber. The guest is Nexpo. I actually referenced Nexpo in the video, with just kind of a throwaway jab at Mamamax regarding his editing. Nexpo, as you probably know, is one of like the granddaddies of horror YouTube. He's one of the biggest names for YouTube. He also just seems to be a really nice guy. I don't know Nexpo. I've just seen a lot of like out of character content of him. He appears in a lot of like streams and podcasts for other creators. You can see like where I have paused on, like, you know, he's in the top, what's the smell? He just seems like a really nice guy. Anyway, they're about to discuss exactly that. And so I wanted to kind of include some of their thoughts. And anyway, yeah, here's that. Okay, and so at this moment, Nexpo and Mudahar are also talking about they've all been in like a real life friend group with Mamamax for a few years. I didn't actually know the extent of Mudahar and Mamamax's friendship at the time that recorded the last video. I had heard them reference their friendship on YouTube. Apparently, like they go rock climbing together, they go to the gym together. So they're talking about that right now. Like Nexpo, Mudahar, Mamamax, like they've all hung out. They've stayed in hotel rooms, like so they are actually like it sucks, but like they're like legitimately hurt by all of this.
But I mean, hey, you know, he made the bed and called it a day. Other than that, though, now that the whole situation's
He's been on YouTube
been
for
done,
7 years. How does he like?
dude, okay, Actually, another thing before you finish it. When he asks, it's like, I just needed somebody to give advice. Dog, nobody should have to give you advice on providing corroborating evidence. This is like something everyone.
But also, everyone did give you advice. Even in his taking
That's okay.
accountability video, he said, I made a different video and showed it to a lot of people, and some people liked it and didn't. So now I'm making this one that I also showed to a lot of people. Bullshit. He didn't show this to anyone that told him to post it, aside from maybe his, like, you know, people that live with him.
You need to have the eye for stuff like this. Like people shouldn't be making the decisions for you. Like I shouldn't be telling you, yeah, that's good. You should go ahead and post
I've
it.
only
And then
been
you post
making
it. Like,
content
no,
online
you
since
ultimately
like
at the end of the
May
day
of
need to be making that decision for yourself.
2023.
And also, you, not
And on any kind of ongoing basis between TikTok and YouTube, and like I could easily tell you that.
what they're doing. Not blaming them.
I've already encountered times where it's like I've had ideas and just immediately been like, no, I'm not going to do that.
And look, at the end of the day, too, that's the other thing like that I had an issue with. He's like, I'm giving them my platform, and a lot of it is always the thing about hiding behind criticism. The part of that call that still flashbangs me.
So
Is
this
like,
is
when he
them
just
talking
back,
about
like,
him
hey, Spencer,
kind of
can you let
weaponizing
Muda
his
know how you
victims.
felt? I'm like, what the? Like, wait a minute.
I saw
what do
that.
You mean?
God.
I was like, don't do that. Jesus Christ.
That was
and
just
look,
the
I have
most.
no ill will against any of these
Wow,
people
yeah,
that are like
that
in
part
his
to call.
camp. Look, I get it. You know, you've been through some wild shit, and you probably don't like it if like there's somebody, you know, cross-examining you. Yeah, like I feel bad cross-examining people, which is why I don't cover shit like this. Okay, like you got to have somebody that's like laser focused, that like knows how to treat these situations properly. And like knows the questions to ask.
It's not about cross-examining
Why I
them.
don't cover shit like this. Dude, I'm not gonna cover
You got a little
story
heated.
that I don't fully understand and whatnot. And I don't really feel that I can emotionally understand because it's like, dude, all I'm gonna do.
I'll
is
actually say I don't watch a lot of. I've never watched mixed content before all of this, and I only watched a little bit to research this, and it's a little problematic.
It's an entire part of
But Nick was a really good cross-examiner on that
hand it
Discord
off
call.
to somebody that is better than me at that shit. Simple.
So anyway, yeah, I was listening to that at work today, and that part kind of stood out to me, where Nux was saying it needs to be you, not victims who live with you, and Nexto was saying, like, yeah, the victims are gonna say yes, no matter what. And so, yeah, just on that note, for the people who are saying, like, does it even matter if Spencer's a victim? Yes, it matters. And there's, like, zero chance that Spencer will ever see this. I'm not coming at this from the premise that this is all full cloth an invention of the Mamamax cinematic universe. I don't think that the takeaway from this should be that we shouldn't believe victims. I've seen some people making this kind of about, like, a Me Too sort of narrative, and sort of like an anti-Me Too narrative. Admittedly, if you're maybe looking at this case from the perspective of this is why due process exists, you wouldn't be making an entirely unfair point. But we can have due process and also believe victims. And Max's whole moral grandstanding offense has been, I thought we believed victims. I am just trying to support victims. Where Mamamax went wrong is one, he took somebody's actual trauma and like an actual unreported crime and made it into a Halloween horror show. And two, he used somebody's full name on the internet and made actionable defamatory statements about them with zero evidence. But you can support victims and their pursuit of justice and healing and support and all of those things, and also have due process. Unfortunately, like I said, Mamamax has probably made all of that very difficult. Spencer's situation has seemingly only gotten worse since she got connected to Mamamax. Hey, remember a few years ago when Chris Hansen absolutely destroyed the Onision investigation because he apparently held on to some evidence, didn't turn it over to proper investigators, and then that evidence became inadmissible because there was no chain of custody that could be verified. And then he went to Onision's house on camera in that clip that I played earlier and made an absolute fool of himself. Hunting predators is not a spectator sport. When I say that some content should not be dramatized, I'm not saying that clutching my pearls. I'm saying that because the Chris Hansens and the Mamamaxes and the dozens of imitators popping up all over YouTube, like Mudahar said in that podcast, they're just chasing the clout. They're just doing it for the popularity. It is vigilantism for views. It only makes seeking justice worse. It can actually disrupt real investigations. It can disrupt the lives of real victims. Seeking justice for victims and a victim's journey to rebuilding and healing and coming back from their experience, that is not content. That should never be content. Anyway, this has been easily the most serious video I have ever done on any platform, and it might be the most serious video I'll ever do. The next video will be a lot more fun. I'll be back to gaming. You'll probably see one more upload from me in this setting, and then I'll probably be in a new place after that. Thank you for watching. This video ended up being really long. Some of the subject matter is really personal to me, even though I'm not personally connected to this particular case. If by chance this is the first of my videos that you've ever seen, this is a little bit different, like I said, from anything I've ever done. But I might do more content like this from time to time. It's kind of nice to, I don't know, research things, react to things. I'll definitely never step away from gaming. This is a gaming channel. But I don't know. Sometimes I turn a camera on and I find myself with things to say, and that will probably happen again. But in the meantime, stay safe out there. I'll see you next time. Like it if you like it. Gonna be having a couple new gaming series starting, more Phasmo content. I will see you next time.